You see what's happening with the Nets, right? You saw Matt Sullivan is going to be on with us, the writer of that Nets book that went deep inside on Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant's life. Mike Ryan's got some sound here. You talk about generational gaps on how much is changing. You want to hear David Letterman at Nets practice talking to Kevin Durant?
I've been waiting for it my entire life.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I think you're going to probably be disappointed because I'm not sure Kevin Durant has
sounds so appealing.
The same reverence for David Letterman that you have. But Matt Sullivan is reporting for Rolling Stone that what's going on in the NBA and the Nets and Kyrie Irving when it comes to vaccinations is unbelievably reckless, and a power switch is happening where basketball, which sent us all inside with Rudy Gobert and sort of taught us to take this thing seriously, and then through all manner of racial turmoil, cultural turmoil, generational turmoil, pandemic turmoil, Kyrie Irving and the Nets were at the center of successfully staging basketball somehow with Disney's help and hundreds of millions of dollars in a bubble. But now it's gone the other way. They've got Kyrie Irving hasn't shown up for media day today after this story came out from Matt Sullivan quoting his aunt saying that they're not going to play by Kyrie's not going to play by the rules, that it's going to be like Kirk Cousins with this plexiglass thing. He's just not going to do things the way that you expect them to do them. And he's accruing power. And there are plenty of people who agree with him.
But with their sport being indoors, they have a specifically unique problem. You can maybe get away with Cole Beasley because he's just a guy on your team, not a superstar, not with any real power, and largely outdoor gatherings. In New York, you have to be fully vaccinated to attend a large indoor gathering, same as the Bay Area, and the Golden State Warriors are dealing with this right now with Andrew Wiggins.
He wanted a religious exemption. It was dismissed.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins.
Well,
and now
I'm not even sure what kind of deity Kyrie Irving subscribes to. He could be anywhere from Judeo-Christian. I know he was practicing Muslim last year, but he also follows Buddhism. He's like Aldous Snow for getting Sarah Marshall. Like, he's got that tattoo and that tattoo. They don't make sense together.
But it's required. So in that state,
well, his
but he's
aunt,
also very powerful.
His aunt is being quoted as saying he might not play home games. And man, oh man, is it so interesting to see the way the player empowerment mutates and corrupts, because these guys have been running that team. Matt Sullivan tells you in his book in a way that seems unusual, the amount of power that they have accrued. They are their own economy and they know it. And that particular team can play around with this because they only need one or two of their three guys to be around. But it runs against everything the league needs, from, hey, we can't do load management. We need our stars to travel. We need our guys to be vaccinated so that they could play everywhere so you don't undermine the team. And Kyrie Irving's over here saying, like, maybe I'll play, or his aunt is being quoted, maybe he'll play one out of every 3 games.
And you have his best friend who's running the team, who refuses to trade him to Philadelphia because he wants to play with him. Because Ben Simmons sounds pretty good when you consider that Kyrie's only going to play half the games.
But Ben Simmons, another child. Do you guys realize, okay, no matter what's going on with Ben Simmons, Shams is reporting that Ben Simmons, that the Sixers teammates wanted to fly out to see him, and he won't even grant them an audience. And it's beyond unprofessional. Ben Simmons is hiding from everything or trying to hide as a famous person from everyone and everything that happened to him at the end of last season, and has the power to do it, though, right. Stugotz, is what I'm saying. Like, this is how it's trickled down from LeBron and Wade and Bosh to these guys who are kids, and there's no demand on them to be professional because they don't have to be. He's got a contract, and he's just like,
oh, I think he would tell you they weren't professional. They
okay,
didn't have my
but
back.
what I'm saying,
I get where Ben Simmons is coming
from. So do I.
But it's so unprofessional to just not even want to see your teammates, to not even want. You're bailing on everything. You're undermining everything that was built there. And I understand you could sit here and side with him and say they were cruel to him and his feelings are hurt, but it's wildly unprofessional what he's doing. He's nuking the blueprint.
Yeah, but I think I understand what you're saying. I think Ben feels like, no, they bailed on me in a moment where I really needed them, right after the game, my coach bailed on me.
Okay, but
Joel Embiid
and
bailed
he
on me.
You just
bailed
want
on-
me to play ball so you can just trade me to Portland or wherever. I'm not a part of your blueprint. You just need me to come in and show up so I have some value. I get where he's coming from. It is unprofessional, but you're asking him to subscribe to what's going on in that sport where the basketball players resent the power that management has because, oh, you can just trade me and get rid of me whenever you want. But when the shoe's on the other foot, I'm unprofessional.
That's correct. But that's where we are with the power shifting dynamics that you've heard the Sports Illustrated quoting an anonymous general manager. This is the worst thing to ever happen to the sport, that they have the power instead of us, that they, the ones with the economies around them, the one with the contracts, that they can take our power and nuke everything we're doing. Stephen A. Smith is reporting that Kevin Durant won't trade Kyrie Irving, even as Sean Marks is probably saying, well, let me get this injured, unvaccinated person out of here and his family so that I can get Ben Simmons to create more threes for Durant and for Harden.
Better defender, 25, willing to be vaccinated, will play every game.
Healthier.
Healthy.
Nick Wright has already reported that Kyrie Irving internally has threatened the Nets that if they trade him, he'll retire on the spot, too. It's the Kyrie Irving story. I mean, without saying much, like it's obviously fascinating on the surface, but I can't wait to talk to Matt Sullivan this week and find out the inner workings, because now you take Cole Beasley, only you're not exactly sure where any of this is coming from. His aunt is tapping into like some of the fake news stuff by calling him Dr. Falsey. That's not necessarily a religious exemption there. And you have Kyrie Irving, who's obviously a superstar, but he also has power within the Players Association. They have an issue here, and I'm not really sure what the answer is, and he may actually win this one.
It is such a mess, Stugatz, at the center of the sports economy.
No, but the answer is Kyrie's going to do what Kyrie wants to do, or else he's going to quit. That's the answer. I mean, he has the power. Dan's right. He has the power, and he has the backing of Kevin Durant, and that's all he needs.
Do you realize, though, how threatening that is to the people who have always had the power? As
Yes.
Phil Jackson dismisses LeBron's posse, do you realize what we've watched in the last 11 years, for better or for worse, on how this money has contaminated it? Because the sport, never mind the general managers, the other power, the owners, and Silver have to be mortified that Simmons and Kyrie can do this to their professional organizations. Just shake them at the core with unprofessionalism, and you're powerless. You've got Kevin Durant is telling you, you want to trade him. That's what you'd normally do in this circumstance. No, you don't have the power that you think you do, general manager. You work for me. You're my administrative assistant. You're Kyrie Irving's administrative assistant. Go out and do what we tell you to do, because we're this team's economy.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm kind of okay with Kevin Durant and other players having that kind of power. Kevin Durant could have went anywhere, Dan. He could have went anywhere. He made it very clear. I'm going with that guy, and we're going to try to win a title together, and you're not breaking it up.
The league is so lucky that Durant's shoe size was too big. Because imagine how these dudes would be doing it if they had the power of a championship on top of it.